Good afternoon. It's Kurt Jem. Welcome to episode 9 of The New Norm. We are in Christmas week here, and we thought we'd take a few minutes and get together with Chris Duclos, who is an industrial specialist here at Sentry Commercial, talk a little bit about what his market looks like over the last several months. Obviously, we came into an interesting year from a market perspective, not really knowing in March and April what things were going to look like. But I think Chris would be able to add to what's happening in the market and kind of give us a perspective as to what he's seeing. Chris Duclos, Sentry Commercial, welcome.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me, Kurt. Appreciate it. Good to see you.
Well, tell me a little bit about what's happening in your market.
Sure. So, I mean, look, going into this year was extremely strong. Great first start to the year. January, February was really good. And then obviously, you had all these murmurs of, this thing called COVID coming up. And, the initial pullback from that was pretty substantial. I mean, we had, how many deals under contract that fell apart immediately. I mean, and not just us, as those market wide and countrywide too, probably globally. But, other than that initial pullback, it's been an extremely solid year. I mean, the market activity is unbelievable, mostly on the sales side. The leasing side is still pretty down. There's some tenants out there poking around, but fewer than pre-COVID times. But overall, honestly, can't complain about about this year in general. I mean, it's been surprisingly good.
Yeah, awesome. So, needless to say, moving into the environment that we moved into, there's obviously some winners and there's some losers relative to the industry sectors and where they went. What are you seeing? Obviously, the growth of e-commerce. What are you seeing from a logistics standpoint? How are you seeing that market? How is it impacting really what I see as a firestorm of opportunity and, like you said, sale opportunities? So how has that affected your business day to day?
The e-commerce side of things specifically?
Yeah, logistics, e-commerce. What kinds of companies are you selling buildings to?
Sure. Yeah, no, good question. Yeah, obviously e-commerce is just booming right now. I mean, Amazon, I don't know how many square feet they've scooped up in the past 8 to 12 months, but it's been ridiculous. I mean, just in Connecticut alone, it's hundreds and hundreds of thousands of square feet. In a lot of other logistics as well. I mean, there's XPO is booming. You have a lot of other local and more regional 3PLs that are booming as well. What we see out in the market is a lot of those guys. Distribution, logistics is huge. But you're seeing other kind of supporting businesses also. Some truck manufacturers. You see other sorts of manufacturers that aren't necessarily impacted by COVID. I mean, you have to name some off the top of my head is tough, but certainly a bunch out there that are still thriving even in this market.
Sure. So that's awesome. So listen, when the market started to shift a little, like I said, some people pulled back and then things started to move again forward. I know, because obviously we work together on certain projects. I know that we needed to pivot. And what would you define as the pivotal moment that we changed sort of the style in which we were bringing property to market, AKA, video stuff? How has that impacted your day-to-day discussions with your clients, and how are they feeling about that presentation?
Yeah. I mean, good question. Look, we, going into this, there's, you kind of just fall into this rhythm, and it kind of gets, I shouldn't say stale isn't the right word, but you kind of get in this flow, and you don't particularly switch up what you're doing, very, very much. But obviously the crisis makes you kind of rethink how you service your clients, and obviously it comes in a couple different forms, but the biggest one is in our marketing capabilities. I mean, you can't, we're still put boots on the ground. We still try to door knock, go canvas some areas, but obviously with people not working from the office, and a lot of people having restrictions on visitors, stuff like that, it's tough to get those in-person, meetings, cold calls, warm calls. like you would pre-COVID. So that's changed quite a bit, and then how we translate that into getting more eyes on our product in particular has been the challenge. But I think we've gone through it pretty well. I mean, we and as you know, we brought virtual tours, which we weren't doing pre-COVID, that have certainly helped quite a bit. I can't tell you how many people are so pleased with the virtual tours we do. So that's one big one. Bringing a drone into our marketing package has been huge as well. I mean, having that stock for any listing that we bring on board is just a huge added value. I mean, a couple other, I mean, our online presence has grown quite a bit with those things. Those kinds of, that's kind of the catalyst to getting it out there.
Absolutely. I mean, I think bringing in the video has been really a clutch move for the company. Absolutely. And, that enabled us to get our YouTube channel launched, and, we're getting a lot of visibility there, which has been fantastic.
Absolutely.
And, so, as we continue to grow, we're going to continue to expand upon that and make sure that the clients are, benefiting from that. It's great to hear that feedback because, as sometimes you do marketing things and you don't really ever know or understand what the impact is. So it's great to do something very visual and have the clients, respond in a way in which they did. So I'm glad it's helping your business.
It's huge. Yeah, it's been huge, and not just on the listing side either. I mean, we recently had an out-of-state client that was looking to come up here before the holidays to take a look at for some buildings that they were interested in occupying. And we kind of translated that virtual tour to the tenant rep side of things, where, hey, they couldn't make it out. So this would have been a end of January visit at this point, mid-end of January visit for them. What we ended up doing was we ended up taking our video equipment out to these sites that they had interest in, and we ended up just doing virtual tours, packaging it together, and sending them a link so they could kind of consume all of the video tours along with the building specs, the financials of each building. So it's just been a huge help. So now we're actually moving to offers and into RFPs with this group, them not even having seen the product physically. So I mean, it's just huge added value to our clients, not just our listing clients, but our tenant rep, buyer rep prospects as well.
That's awesome. It's exciting and such a pivotal year to be able to to do that. So
absolutely.
So let's shift gears a little bit. So what the audience doesn't know is that I've known Chris since he was 2 feet tall, and Chris and or Chris's dad, myself, and Mark Duclos go way back, at least 30 years. And so Chris was just a baby back then.
Right.
And now Chris is toeing the line. He's out there in the market, working with his dad. So needless to say, president of SIOR, president of Sentry Commercial, and numerous other activities that your dad is involved with. What is it like working with Mark Duclos?
It's a big,
AKA your father.
I get this question pretty often, and it's interesting. I mean, I honestly just the simplest answer is that it's awesome. I mean, I love working with my father. I mean, we've always had a good relationship, but it's certainly gotten so much better even since we've been working together. And obviously, he's got some pretty big shoes to fill, and in which is interesting to say the least. Everybody knows Mark Duclos, and so it's very humbling going out there and talking to people you don't know from a hole in the wall. They're like, "Oh, I've been working with your dad for 35 years," and it's pretty interesting. But he's the best mentor in the world. He's extremely patient, showing me the ropes, and so far it's been a really, really good time and a fun partnership.
Well, that's great. That's great, and I can tell that you are falling into those shoes, big shoes to fill.
Right.
But I think you're doing an amazing job, and it's exciting to watch you and your dad, because me and my dad spent a fair amount of time over the course of 25 years working together as well. And so it's a tremendous opportunity. Glad to see it's working with you guys, and as we plow forward into 2021. So listen, I appreciate you being with us on episode 9. Great to get your insight into the market and get a little bit on ideas to how you've adapted and what you're doing to be successful. And appreciate your time today. So we will reconnect soon. Enjoy the Christmas week, and we will talk with you. Thank you for
absolutely.
Episode 9 with Chris Duclos, Sentry Commercial. Have a great day, Chris.
Hey, thanks for having me, Kurt. Appreciate it.
You bet.
Merry Christmas.
Thank you. You too, and your family.
Hey, thanks, boss. Bye.